for it to connect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. There we go. Boom. We are live. What's going on, Facebook? It's TK here with another episode of Talk to TK, and I have Coach Ernie Williams here for part 3 of a 4-week series where we are going deep in the mind of Coach Ernie Williams to talk about a couple of her experiences with playing overseas, injuries, and this week we are talking about those transition periods. Everybody goes through them. We can't avoid them. When you transition from middle school to high school to college, college to the pros, or you're transitioning from preteen to a teenager, it doesn't really matter. Everybody goes through transition periods in their life. So we are going to break down some of the transition periods that Coach Ernie Williams went through and just kind of go deep into her mind and get some of her experience and some of her expertise and advice to help everybody out there as they go through it or as they have family members, friends, children, whatever the case may be, going through those same transition periods. So if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, please do not hesitate to drop them in the chat. We are always here to listen and answer your questions because we are here to help you guys get better. So, Coach Ernie, welcome to the show. I appreciate you being here. How's your day been?
It's been good. I'm swimming. I'm still swimming.
Still swimming.
It's COVID, so yeah, we figuring things out. It's been good though.
That's good. That's good. Let me get something going here. Good deal. So, welcome to the show. I'm super excited about what we have on tap for today. Let me go ahead and pull up these questions. So, to jump right off the bat, let's start here with your transition period as you were going from high school to college. We're going to start way back when. So you came out of high school, the good old days, right? You came out of high school. You were a McDonald's All-American. You had tons of accolades to your name, and you were a pretty important piece to the success of your high school team and even your AAU team. Mm-hmm. So as you were going through the recruiting process, let's just start there, way back, you're 15, 16, and you're highly recruited. What were some of the things, as a 15 or 16-year-old that you can, piece together? What were some of the things that you were looking for in a school and a coaching staff and a team to determine that UT Austin was the best place for you to continue your basketball career?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. Well, 15, how old are we as seniors? We really don't know, but we just figure it out in that process. So what I began to look for was a winning culture in sports, men's and women's sports, especially the basketball team, but then looking overall at the women's sports, how they were treated, and a winning culture in education. What was the rate of graduation, for that certain program, for the women's program? So obviously education, I paired that with their traditions and their culture towards winning and developing players on the court and off the court. So I was looking at that. I also was looking at who I would be playing with that I could learn from. So meaning, doesn't matter what position, but who were my upperclassmen, which I was going to play with for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, whoever was older than me. Where were they in their journey? How could I learn from them? And then the girls that I was going to be coming in with, who I was going to be playing with, and then maybe that year after, if they knew who they were recruiting. You can kind of, sometimes you can get an idea of who's going to be coming in after a little bit, because they do their recruiting year, so early and year by year. So I'm looking at the full picture of not just who I'm going to play with, but who's going to be there with me and a little bit after me. Who are they planning on? So I can possibly see where we would be. And that's just a plan. It's not all, it doesn't always work, but that was a plan. So what I found out, I was going to be playing with Nina Norman and Coco Reed for at least, Houston, baby.
Yep, I know them.
For at least 1 year. Coco was kind of a small forward, 3-4 slasher, my position. And then Nina was just a baller, a dog of a point guard, and feisty and a great leader. So I knew I was going to at least get 1 year with her and Coco. And then I had 2 years with Katrina Robinson and Tiffany Jackson from Dallas area.
Yep.
So that was great. And, you know, me coming up, I was watching Tiff. I was watching Tiffany in high school and not knowing, it's real weird, not knowing that I would play with her or have a chance to play with her. But I remember when I was a freshman, sophomore in high school, I was watching her and she was coming up because she was the big freshman on campus and balling and dogging people out. And then I had a chance to play with her and I understood who she was. So I'm glad I paid attention, you know, to the women that were playing at the time.
Right.
So there's education, there's who I'm going to be playing with. Of course, there's the coaching staff. My coaching staff, they recruited me in a way that really made me feel they wanted me. They wanted Ernie the player and Ernie the person, and they were going to take care of me. And I really, really felt that. I felt that from the head coach, Coach Conrad, one of the winningest coaches at the time at UT, a big staple in women's basketball. That was a huge honor to be called by her and recruited, you know. Coach Karen Aston was also an assistant coach. She recruited me in high school. And then Travis Mays, who is the head coach for SMU women's basketball program right now, he recruited me. So I saw these, they were at my games, high school games. They came to volleyball games. Like my volleyball team was not good. So we might have got smashed, but they showed up consistently. They were at AAU, games. They were at some of our bigger tournaments for high school season, the Christmas tournaments. They showed up, and they took a real interest in saying, "Hey, we're here. We want you. We're watching your growth." And also, they had good communication with my coaches, my mom, and then my AAU coaches. So, you know, not only were they just showing me, but they were showing my coaches and my support staff that, hey, we're interested in Ernie Williams. Some other things were that I was looking at doing, you know, architecture, and I wanted to make sure my major and minor were there. I would be able to do something like that and have like architecture and computer science.
Mm-hmm.
And then the support when, you know, I needed tutors or just understanding what their process was when it came to classes in school and our support there. You know, if we needed more time or we needed to have somebody represent us with a teacher or professor that thought we were plagiarizing and we weren't,
right?
Which I had. We'll talk about that. But how would they treat me? How would they help me? You know what I'm saying? So looking at all those things, and there was a lot more as you go on your visits, as you continue to watch their program and learn about the history of the program, you just kind of get like, okay, Texas they're up there. I need to go visit. After my visit, I think it was probably it. That was what I needed. I met the girls that I was going to be playing with. And I actually went on my visit with, I believe Erica Arriera was there. She may not have been, but I know the Paris twins went. And we had a good time. I thought they were coming to Texas.
Man.
So I was way on board. I was like, Paris twins coming to Texas? What? And I thought they had a good time too. When they said that they were going to OU, I was like, what? Oh man, I thought they were going to Texas, but that's okay because we had like 7 girls in our recruiting class, and we had 2 other All-Americans, McDonald's All-Americans, Crystal Boyd and Erica Arriera, that I met at the McDonald's game, which was fun. So there's a lot of things that go into it, and it's once you think about those things, you have a strategy and you plan, and then you go see the campus, you go see the people. It's a vibe that you feel in your gut.
Mm-hmm.
Even after, you know, they recruited me, I showed up for an official, I believe, and then even after that, you know, before I even made my decision, it was just still, how are you doing? And it was never pressure. It was never pressure. Right. I mean, I was like an introverted high schooler and I didn't like talking on the phone, but it was like never pressure to like, oh, I don't want to go. They're pressuring me. No. You know, the number one thing I felt like with those coaches, if I was able to stay with them for 4 years, which I wasn't, and I'm sad about it. But if I was able to stay with them for 4 years, I was thinking, okay, these are the coaches that are gonna make me the player that I want to be and that I don't even know I can be. I just truly believe that. So yeah, there's a lot. I mean, you have to have your plan of what you're looking for. But then it's also trust your gut, trust your intuition. And I trusted my gut, and you know, I wouldn't change my mind. I wouldn't change my decision. There's a lot of times when I didn't trust my gut when we went overseas for professional basketball. So yeah, my gut has always been kind of on point, but it's just do we trust it or not in
Right.
that moment. But yeah, that's it.
Well, you have definitely laid out quite the plan and things to think about for the young athletes that are playing sports now in high school and AAU and being recruited heavily, being recruited at some of the highest levels available to them in their sport. And so I just kind of want to recap some of the notes that I wrote down and some of the highlights that I really want people to take away from what you said, because you said a lot of good stuff. And a lot of these same things that you mentioned are things that I talked about with my parents and my family, my support system. So great stuff here, Coach. Some of the big points that I pulled away that I really liked were having a strategy and a plan. If you do happen to know the direction you want to go with your academic career, it's definitely important to make sure that the schools you are considering actually have that degree, have that major, have that minor, because you're not just going to be an athlete. You are a student athlete. So you want to make sure that you are able to pursue what you have a passion for beyond your sport. Because unfortunately, Father Time catches up with everyone, and we cannot play our sport forever and ever. Amen.
Yeah.
So we do. Go ahead.
Can I add something to that before we go on? So I would also have a secondary major and minor. For in my instance, I wasn't able to actually do architecture, which I thought I was, because of the times of practice and the class times, they didn't match up. So I was not actually able to get into architecture, which really, it stunk, because I after that, I actually didn't know what I wanted to do. So I would say, make sure you have a plan A major, plan B, and A and B kind of minor, and make sure it's there. There you go.
That works. And I was going to go into that. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
Nice.
Because I got into the position where I went in with a certain degree in mind, and come to find out that was not something that worked out well for me. And I did not have a plan B.
Okay, yeah.
I was still able to work through it and come out with a great degree and a great minor and all of that stuff. But I agree wholeheartedly. Make sure you have plan A, plan B, and make sure that wherever you're considering, they have your plan A and plan B for your major and your minor.
Yep.
Great advice from the academic side. And another thing that you said about academics dealt with the academic support that you would have as a student athlete. That's talking about the tutors. That's talking about extra time to get your work done. If you need to leave practice a little bit early or come to practice a little bit late, to make sure that you're getting your academic work completed, because again, you are a student athlete. And when your 4 or 5 years are done in college, what are you going to walk away with? Some people will walk away and continue on playing professionally. Majority of those people are going to walk away and have to go find a real job. So you need to make sure that you are handling your business academically, and that you have the support system in place academically to walk away with a degree that you're proud of, and you can do something with once your playing days are over. On the athletic side of things, something that you touched on that I really liked was really around the coaching staff and how you never felt that pressure, and they came to support you, not just the athlete, but the person. They had your mother involved. They had your support system involved. They had your AAU and high school coaches involved, because they wanted to show that they cared about you as a person, because you're only on the court so many hours a day. All of the other 19 hours in the day, you are a human being. You are a person. You are an individual striving to be the best, turn into the best adult that you know how to be, and you want that support from your coaching staff. And so it's very important to make sure that you are going to play for a coaching staff that definitely cares not more about you as a person, but also cares about you just as much as a person, not just what you bring to the sport. Because like I said, you don't spend, 19, 20 hours in your sport. You spend maybe 4, 5, 6 hours at the most, and that's pushing it in your sport. So, I mean, you said tons of great stuff, but those things were really important. What I found were really helpful as you go through the recruiting process. So, great stuff there. As you made your decision, and, choosing a college at 17, 18 years old is never the easiest thing in the world. There's a lot you just don't know, and you make the best decision you can. Mm-hmm. So were there nerves involved? How was, telling other schools that you were going with, UT Austin? Did you do that? How did all that play out?
Yeah, of course I was nervous. Like I said, I didn't like talking on the phone. I'm more of an in-person type of communicator or connector. So I was very nervous. So my top two were UT, and then my second one was LSU.
Okay.
So the third one was OU. I went on my visit there, and I actually just wanted to get out of Oklahoma and like away from home base. But Oklahoma was, I was really, trying to see if they were a top contender, and I just didn't go that direction. But as you can see, they were a freaking beast. They were a powerhouse. Hard to deal with, but very nervous. I had to tell Pokey was coaching at the time. I had to tell her I'm going to Texas, and I probably blacked out, and I probably was stuttering, so I don't know how it went, but it wasn't fun. It's uncomfortable. Right. It's really uncomfortable because that coaching staff too was invested, and they had came and started to recruit me later into the recruiting process. So I actually got looks from them from going to a Nike kind of skills camp that was in St. Louis. I want to say like my senior year, the summer before senior year, like going into senior year. Mm-hmm. They had just kind of came in, and I knew they were a great school. I was watching them beat up on people with Simone Augustus. So I was like, heck yeah, I'm going down. Let me see what LSU was talking about. And funny story, Sylvia Fowles was my host. So she was really cool. So that would have been a great decision as well. But I think UT stuck in there a little longer. I started a little longer. We had that connection. So that always helps. But yeah, of course, I was nervous.
Absolutely. Yeah, I figured as much, but just wanted to hear from your perspective because I was nervous. I was the one that I was like, hey, Coach Malone, so I want to commit to you guys, but I don't really know how to do that. So what if I was that nervous? I didn't even know what to say. And she was
what's the process?
Right. What's the process? And she was like, nope, you just say you want to commit, and then that's it. And then we send you the paperwork on this day, and you sign it and you send it back. All right. Well, that.
Oh man, that's funny.
So no, I totally get the nerves being there. It's definitely a tough decision, but when you're 17 and 18 and you have that gut feeling and you've talked with the people you trust the most and they help you make that decision and support you whatever you decide, then you go with it, and that's what it is. It's no knock to any other school that you didn't go to. Mm-hmm. It's no knock to any other school that any player doesn't go to, because you only can go to one. So it's just a decision that's made, and you kind of move forward, and coaches understand that. And so just like with anything, you want to be confident in your decision and just move forward with it. And that's kind of how that goes. So for those out there who are making that decision, who will be making that decision, trust your gut, trust what your eyes have shown you, trust what your support system is saying, and make the best decision and go forth with it with all your energy, all your might, all your heart. It's
For
never
you.
easy, but
Yeah,
it's
make that decision for you and not based off anybody else's little opinions, their slight comments, their, just listen. Maybe it'll resonate with you, whatever they say. But this decision is for you. You're going to college. You're playing. You're gonna be running sprints for these coaches and teammates. So you choose.
Right. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Let's see. What else do we have? Okay. So Love and Basketball came out. And I know we all saw the scene when Monica went to college and she was a freshman and she had, the senior point guard who was, I'm not going to let a freshman take my spot, this, that, and the other. Did you think that's what college was going to be like?
No, I didn't know what college was going to be like. I really had no clue. I don't think it was going to be like that. I think you just don't know. My mindset was, whatever my coach and my team needs from me, I'm gonna try and fulfill that. What they expect of me, that's inside my skill set, I need to make sure I do that almost every day and try to, keep things within my control that I can control. But it was just really being ready for the uncomfortable things, the things that you are not supposed to be ready for. I don't know how to explain that. It's just being ready to go. Not causing problems, staying on top of your homework, making sure you know what the heck is going on. Like, do we have meetings? Where are we meeting? What are we supposed to do? And it's tough as a freshman because you're like, your head is spinning.
Mm-hmm.
Your head is spinning, and sometimes you have your upperclassmen will grab you and make sure you're coming along, and sometimes they're gonna let you spin. But I had just because they think it's funny, like not to be rude, to be like rude or hazing. There was no hazing. Sometimes they were just like laughed at us because we had a huge group of 7 girls that signed that year. So that was like half or more of the team. We were freshman heavy, and it was just fun. It was fun. So
for sure, they like to see you squirm a little bit. That's for sure. Until you make them run sprints, they like to see you squirm.
Yeah, until that happens, and they're like they calling us like an hour earlier before our 6 a.m.s. Like, you up? No, no. I live on campus. I can walk to the track in 5 minutes. You off campus? I'm not up yet. Don't call me.
Right? Yeah, no, I agree. Something that you said, well, 2 things that you said in there was controlling the controllables. Control what you can control, focus on what you can control, and not get so caught up in expectations, not get too caught up in
fear.
Yes.
Fear that you make up. Like,
yes. Yes, we're gonna dive into that. Yes. And the other thing that you said was you had to get out of your comfort zone. To me, when I went to college, all the buildings looked the exact same. They were tall and white, or they had brick. It was one of the two. So when people are saying we have to meet here at this time and meet there at that time, and I'm like, okay, where's my map?
Exactly.
You are here. I have to go all the way over here. There's 6 feet of snow on the ground.
Yes,
what now?
I remember those days, like freshman year, using a map for every semester, like probably my whole first semester. Like, how can you not know where your classes are by now? Especially if you want to take a bus and then you miss your bus stop, or you now you don't even know where you are.
Right.
But yeah, I remember those days whipping that map out. I had a map in almost every bag just in case.
Yep.
Like, and that's what they did. They'll make you be resourceful. They'll make you like figure it out because, hey, look on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my gosh, I don't like maps. Okay.
Definitely, that is the one thing, navigating around a college campus, navigating your schedule. Those are some of the things that you don't necessarily learn in high school or AAU. And those are also some of the things that will really push you outside of your comfort zone and will really put you in a position to take ownership of yourself, your time management, knowing where you need to be and when. Because in high school, you're in one building and you know your class isn't outside of that building. So if you walk around long enough, you're going to run into your classroom. On a college campus, you're not. That's not going to really work. And the gym is always, just down the hall. Like you could always find the gym in a high school. It's a little bit different on a college campus. So definitely being resourceful is a big adjustment that people going from high school to college have to make, just because, hey, this is what time the meeting was. You knew about the meeting for a week. I'm sorry you didn't know where the building was. The building have to move. Let's go run sprints.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it just forces you to be, like you said, resourceful and accountable.
Mm-hmm.
You got to figure it out, man. As a freshman, you just got to figure it out and be on in front of things and ahead of the curve a little bit. Like you said, you know that meeting was on your schedule for a week. Why didn't you ask where building TBC was?
Right.
In room 123. I don't know. I just thought I could make it. No, don't think you can make it. Like, you don't know where it's at.
Allow a lot of buffer time. I'd rather you be the freshman who's 45 minutes early than the freshman that's 5 minutes late. Because now you're impacting my running, and I don't like that.
Nobody likes that.
So going into college, and like I said, you were a McDonald's All-American coming out of high school. So you talk a lot about controlling the controllables and focus on what you can focus on, and that fear. You brought up the word fear. Tell me about your mindset going into college with a big class. How do you combat the fear? How did you get to the point where you really became comfortable and was able to just feel like, okay, I think I have a good control under the expectations, how the coaches are, all of that flow of things?
Okay, cool. Good question. So I don't think I was ever comfortable freshman year. And not in a bad way. It's just like you're learning so much and you're continuously learning. As soon as you learn something, they throw something else at you and you're learning something else, whether it's on or off the court. For me, I wasn't comfortable until maybe sophomore year, between sophomore and junior year, just because of the time and understanding their expectations. And then again, right when I got comfortable with my coaching staff, I did have a coaching change. But what else? What was the other part of the question?
You were talking about fear and your mindset going in, really maybe having to hone it in on controlling the controllables and focusing on certain things.
Got you. So fear was there. I dealt with it pretty well. It was just like you have to keep going. It wasn't a fear that stopped me in my tracks and made me compete any less or perform any worse. It was a positive fear for me. I call it positive because it makes me proactive. If I do have a positive fear of not knowing the scouting report when I'm supposed to, I'm going to be proactive about making sure I understand that before we get into that situation and coach start asking people questions. And just trying to always ask questions as we're learning our plays, our sets, the expectations that the coaches have for us on offense and defense outside of the court in school. It was my mindset as far as on the court was I want to play. I want to play as a freshman. They told me, my coaches told me I would have an opportunity to play. And that was true. I got my first start, maybe our 5th or 6th game against a big time school, Duke, on our home court. So I did believe my coaches when they said that. Sometimes that's said, and sometimes there's not really that sometimes that didn't happen for a freshman. But at the same time, I put that work in. I put the work in that I was supposed to do. I made sure I was giving value and hoping when I got in the game, I was trying to be efficient and make the game better and easier for my coaches, but my upperclassmen. So my upperclassmen, if I get my upperclassmen on my side and say, hey, we need Ian for some defense or some rebounds or some hustle plays or something, the coaches are also, on board too. But and then vice versa. When the coaches say that, that kind of helps you connect with the upperclassmen as well. But my mindset was just to go. play and work hard so I can start or just to get some playing time. I wanted to play. I didn't want to sit the bench, and I had the confidence to say that I think I was good enough not to sit. Even if it was 10 minutes, I mean, I want to play, you know? So that was my mindset. And they told me I could, so I had that confidence to hear them say that. I was like, okay, let me go and let me just do what they're asking me to do and a little bit more and keep working hard on all fronts, on the court, the weight room, the athletic training room, my classes, my tutor and mentor, because, you know, if you're cutting up on any other part outside the court, that affects your playing time.
Yep.
It's going to affect your reputation, your brand.
Yep.
So I had to have all that in a line and you know, be able to present myself in a way that, hey, you chose the right player and I deserve it.
Absolutely. And for the young players out there, I really want you to pay attention to the fact that Coach brought up on the court and off the court. That includes weight room, conditioning, team meetings, study hall, any type of academic commitment that you make, making it to your study group in the library, making it to your study group at study table. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Even if you just go to, even being on time to study table, coaches see everything. And for the record, on time means 10 minutes early. It does not mean on time. At the bare minimum, it means 10 minutes early. What is your attitude like? What is your how are you with your teammates? Are you combative? Are you standoffish? Are you looking to make things easier or more cohesive? Or are you always trying to be off by yourself and be an individual? Because in a team sport at the college level, there are no individuals. That is where players start to get into trouble. That is where you can be a player that becomes really hard to play with and becomes really hard to coach. And that can easily derail a season. It can derail a team culture. And everybody wants to win. Like you said, everybody wants to play. But it doesn't just fall into your lap. Coaches don't care what your accolades were in high school. Coach E just said it. She didn't start right off the bat freshman year. It took her a couple of games to get started. She was a McDonald's All-American. She has accolades to her name. She's been in state playoff games. She has been top players on her AAU and high school teams. Same for me. I was a McDonald's All-American. I was all-state, second and third team all-state. I was all-conference. I was, player of the year and all of these things. And guess what? I didn't start a game my freshman or sophomore year of college. Coaches do not care about your accolades once you become a freshman in college. You still have to go back and reprove yourself and show them, show the team, show the upperclassmen, show the strength coaches and everybody that you have worked and deserve to be a starter on that team or a player that is in the game when the game is on the line. So it doesn't come because you have all this stuff. And we're living proof of that. We still went on to have great careers. Eventually, later in our career, we did become starters. We became captains. We became the go-to players. And we became players that the coaches trusted, our teammates trust, the coaching staff, nutrition coach, the trainer, the training room, like when you go and rehab for injuries and all, that's another area where coaches are paying attention because they have those conversations. So you are now representing everything about you and that program as soon as you become a freshman on any college campus, and obviously freshman through senior year, however long you're there. So all of that stuff matters, and it plays into what your playing time look like, the rapport you have, all of that. The other thing that you mentioned as far as going into college is the word compete. Competing has nothing to do with skill level, talent. It has nothing to do with any of that. You compete because you want to win. And if you want to win every single drill, you're going to compete. It doesn't matter who you're going up against. Competing is nothing but effort and hustle. And you don't have to be the smartest player on the team. You don't have to know every play inside and out, but you can always hustle and play with 100% maximum effort. And coaches notice that. Coaches notice that way more than the person who can rattle off every single play from every single position. You're hustling for rebounds, loose balls on defense, fighting through screens. Defense is truly where I earned most of my playing time my freshman and sophomore year of college. It wasn't that I couldn't score. It wasn't that I wasn't able to shoot and do other things. But defense is what got me on the court. And I knew that.
Yep.
Because that requires nothing but effort.
Effort.
That's it.
And discipline. Yep.
So, I mean, Coach, I know you can kind of relate and touch on that from your perspective, but from my perspective, defense is how I got on the court and earned more and more playing time and earned those minutes late in the game when the game was on the line.
Absolutely. I feel that resonates with me because I think I got my playing time too off of the effort of the hustle, the rebounding, and in defense. Those were my two things, not two things, but 2 out of 3 things that I prided myself on. I knew how I could score. I could score 15-footers, pull-ups, getting to the basket from inside the 3-point line. That was my thing as far as getting there freshman year and sophomore year. But outside of that, everybody can score. All McDonald's All-Americans can score. We know we can put up 30. But what do you do without the ball?
Mm-hmm.
How do you get value? How do you prove that you should be on the court? Because the defense wins those games and wins those championships. And we were a defense team first, and then we were so athletic that we played good defense. We're fast breaking. We're getting the shots that we want. So that was our mentality as well. So for me as a player, that was easy. There was no real kind of transition there. It was just the volume and the expectation of how we're going to do that. But defense, that was in my blood. That was in my AAU team's blood, my high school blood. Like that's easy. If it's one thing I'm gonna do, if I can't score, if I don't get one bucket, I got about 10, 15 rebounds. I got hustle plays. I got some charges. I'm annoying, and that's what I understood that coaches were wanting, and I could give that. Like as a freshman, right off the bat, I could give that my hustle. Yep. I might have been out of control at sometimes. But you knew I'm gonna grab a board for you, you know?
Right. Exactly. Those are rebounding, charges, hustle plays, diving for loose ball, setting good screens.
Energy. Oh yeah.
Energy, high fives, all of those things are contagious because what happens is you are creating opportunities for the team. You are creating opportunities for the players that the coach wants to have the ball. And when that happens, you're bringing value to the team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what coach doesn't want players on the court who bring value to the team as a whole, right? So keep that in mind, young players, as you are going through. It doesn't matter if you're more talented or less talented than the next person. You can always bring value to your team right now on the defensive end of the ball. Hands down, no questions asked. You can always bring value to your team on the defensive end of the ball and let the other things come with time.
Yeah, it's hard. It's if you can defend and you'll work your butt off to grab some rebounds, or if you're shorter. I was shorter playing against some trees. Sometimes I couldn't get it, but I don't know. I had a knack for understanding where my teammates were, and if I can get my hands on the ball, I'm gonna tip it to TK in the corner. I'm gonna tip it to somebody else in their area. If you, as players, if you will get out of your comfort zone and defend, there is going to be some minutes that are waiting for you. If you can only defend, that's okay, because you might not be in at the end of the game because we might need some scoring. You might have to go offense, defense, but defense is hard because you have to be disciplined, know where you are, move on the ball, and then there's effort. Then you can be taught how to score and how to just catch and shoot and put in those positions to score. It's that decision. Do I want to play defense all out 150%, or do I just want to on and on? Do I want to coast? I played 100%. I'm probably sure you played 100% defense all the time, and it made it easy. It's an easy decision for my coaches, hands down. Like I made it hard for them to look at the bench, and if you need defense, you can't look past me. Like, I'm looking at you like, come on. You know I play
defense. Exactly. What was your confidence like freshman, sophomore year when you were early on?
I don't know how to explain it. I don't think I had a low confidence before I got hurt. So I did tear my ACL that Duke game, my first start. I got a breakaway layup. And I could generate power and explosiveness, but I was not very good at absorbing that and slowing myself down, decelerating players. Yeah. Learn how to stop and start correctly. So I tore my ACL for the second time that game. But yeah, I think my confidence was just growing since I got on campus that summer. And then working up until the season and playing Duke, when you know you're gonna play Duke and you know you're gonna play Tennessee, and then you get that start and it's like, yes, okay, I've been working. But then my confidence did get shattered a little bit and shaken. I tore my ACL, so it's like for the second time, I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. Now I know I can get through it because I had to my freshman year in high school. Mm-hmm. But do I want to? I know the work it takes. Like I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. I just don't want to do that, but I had to. You know, you get over your morning stage, and then it's like, okay, let's get to work because I'm hungry. Right. I got to get back on the court. I can't miss next year. I got to be ready. So, you know, you change your mindset. You flip that switch, and it's just go, go, go. Enjoy your process, but then at the same time, you know, still trying to get that work done, be on time, act like you're still playing. Everything is still professional at a high level. Just because you're hurt does not mean you are special.
Right.
You still act like you're playing and you're gonna get in the game. You got to be engaged on the bench, engaged in practice, be where you're supposed to be. Especially if you're hurt, like you can't start slacking off on those areas. You're really gonna be in trouble.
Absolutely. That is one thing that I was fortunate enough to get through college with pretty much no injuries. The only thing that really held me back was when I transferred. I had to sit out a year due to NCAA rules. But I've seen athletes go through injuries. Obviously, it's a part of the game. It's a part of sport. But just like Coach E said, understanding that you are still required to do every single thing that your teammates are doing, but from a mental perspective. And that is where you have the opportunity to excel in your leadership abilities. That is where you have the opportunity to excel in understanding the game that much more. The more you understand the game mentally, the more you can understand what the coaches are looking for and how to learn to be mentally tough and how to get past the performance anxiety and how to get past the little things that can shake your confidence. Once you can get past all of that and truly put yourself in position to be great, your leadership abilities will skyrocket. And for a coach to the players that play, 40 minutes a game, which FYI, I've played 40 minutes a game in college. I know everybody says they want to do that. That is one of the hardest things I have had to do. I had to do it for a whole season. The only time I was coming out of the game was foul trouble. And to be mentally locked in for basically 2.5, 3 hours solid is exhausting, is mentally exhausting. So what you have to do is learn how to break the game down mentally. And the more you understand the game mentally, the slower the game gets. And the better you are able to handle those moments where you do have to play 40 minutes game. The longest game I ever played, I played in a 4 overtime game. What? That's basically 3 halves of basketball. College? In college, we played the University of Utah in Utah, and we played 4 overtimes. Exhausting. You won. UConn. Woo! Huh?
You said Utah or UConn?
No. The University of Utah. I've never played UConn. But
if UConn in 4, I'm like, oh my God.
That would be legendary.
That's crazy.
But still, nonetheless, we played in a 4 overtime game. And that is mentally exhausting as well. But the bigger picture that I'm trying to hone in on is the more that you channel that mental energy in practices and workouts, even when you're not physically on the court, the better able you are to handle it in the game, and the better prepared you are to work through those mental lapses that you may have, the team may have, the faster you can get back to the mental level that you need to be at to perform at your best. And that really helps slow the game down for a lot of athletes. I don't know if you experienced that, but I did as I continued to grow in my mental toughness and my mental space for the game, and really taking that time to learn beyond the physical act of playing. When you're sitting on the sidelines waiting for your turn to go, watch the position in front of you. Mimic what they're doing on the sideline. When you're watching film, don't just watch yourself. Don't just watch the good plays. Watch the bad plays. Watch the plays from other players in your position. Watch how the players play on the other team in your position. There's endless opportunities to learn and grow mentally, and that really can propel an athlete to a whole new level that they didn't even know they could reach.
Yeah, I agree. It's when you're talking about how to improve your ability to slow the game down. It's slowing the game down is understanding what should happen, could happen, might happen. Options on defense, whatever situation you're in. Offense.
Whoa. Say that again, because it was really good. Slowing the game down.
If I can.
Go ahead. Say it again, Coach.
I feel like being able to slow the game down is understanding what could happen, what should happen, what might happen in any situation. On defense, a pick and roll, on a timeout where we're down 2, we've got 5 seconds, we're under the basket, right? What have we been working on in practice? What offense is coach going to say? We have to know those things, and they're going to prepare you for that, but you got to pay attention and put that into your memory bank. So yeah, I feel like watching film is one of the key things or ways to slow the game down, because you can literally slow the game down, slow that play down, that situation down, watch it over and over and over and over and over. And then you're going to, once you start doing that on a repeated, consistent basis, can get the words out with your team and on your own, you're going to start understanding what coach is saying a lot faster when they just say things that they can't show you. They don't have time to show you in the game. You got to be able to adjust like that. Hey, we're switching to this and this and that on the defense. We're going to go over the screens, but we're only going to trap so-and-so. Like, that's a whole lot in the defense.
Right.
Situational. If it gets in the corners, we're going to trap on our 2-3. Once she comes over the right side, we're going to trap. She goes over the left side, we're going to stay home. So you got to know your options. You just have to know situational. What happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? And asking questions in your head, asking questions to your assistant coaches, to your head coaches, to your upperclassmen, or your teammates that you trust, that kind of they always know the offensive sets, or they're pretty sharp. You know those teammates. ask the teammates that are pretty sharp so you can get the answer quick. That's all I'm saying. Get the answer quick so you can get the answer and you can go help the other teammates that have trouble like you or have trouble in the situation.
Yep. Know your personnel, know your assignment, know the game plan. That's basically what I heard you say. And those are very powerful because that can make or break the game. The coaches put a game plan together and it's really on the players to execute it. And, sometimes the athletes are executing the game plan and it still doesn't work. The scoreboard will tell you that. And then the coaches already have plan B and C in mind, but you still have to know what those are because you probably talked about them, in shoot around in practice leading up to the game. Hey, we're going to go over on this player because she's a really strong 3-point shooter. But maybe she keeps faking over the screen because we're jumping over the screen too early and she's driving. Hey, player, straight up. Don't cheat the screen because she's beating us the other way. Now you have to adjust and you have to pay attention to what those adjustments are in order to continue to keep yourself in the game for an opportunity to win that game.
You know what, Coach? I'm glad you said that because not only was defense the thing that kind of got me into the game, but like you said, what can keep you into the game, even if you can't produce on the scoring side, is being able to adjust on the defensive side, or even on offense, right? If the offense doesn't run through you, as far as you scoring and being in positions to score all the time, you being able to set that screen higher or sooner, or set that screen and slip and adjust. I mean, there's been games that, like you said, we were executing the plan. The plan is not working. And sometimes on paper, it's a good plan, right? Our coaches work so hard on those scouting reports and figuring out what are we going to do to stop this team, and how can we continue to do what we do. Sometimes we had to adjust to things we didn't even practice that week.
Right. Yeah.
But we practiced it for another game back in the past. So if you always just know your principles around defense, your principles around our offense, or around whatever it is that we do as a team, understanding the expectations, you can be able to adjust to those. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't practice it very freshly in that week.
Right.
It's being able to adjust, I think, really kept me on the court. And being in the right places on defense. Oh, coach, I thought we were doing man to man. Nope, coach said 2-3. Cool, I'm good with that.
Yep.
Like, I know where to be.
Yep.
I know how to talk. That talking a lot, communicating, really helped me stay engaged. I just don't. There's a lot of young players, middle school and high school, that do not communicate and don't talk. And one thing is that, okay, as coaches, we have to help them understand what it is that they're doing, and then what to say and how to say it in those moments. Mm-hmm. So that's that's something about teaching there. But then, okay, when the players do know, some don't talk. Mm-hmm. If somebody skipped it and we're going to help side, where are you going? Like, just say it. You got to talk. Who are you behind? Your teammate Brittany just closed out, and you're her first help. Brittany, I got your help. Help side. Mm-hmm. I'm here.
Yep. Absolutely.
Talking early and often. I heard that a coach say that early and often. I love it. That was me. Early and often. Before that post player was getting ready to set the screen, I was saying, hey, she's coming to the left screen, go under. Even if she didn't even scream, right? My teammate was ready.
Yep.
For stuff to go down.
Absolutely. And with communication comes knowing the game plan, comes knowing who you're playing, comes even in practice. You're going to practice against your teammates so much. You should know what their tendencies are. Mm-hmm. And you can start to learn and prepare for that. Because what it does is it does two things. It helps you defensively to guard someone who may be more of a challenge for you, depending on, their style, the other player's style of play. But the other thing that it can do is it helps your teammate get better offensively, because the other team is scouting them just like you're scouting them every day in practice. So the other team is going to shut down their first, second, and maybe even their third option. What do they do then? But if you're just giving them everything that they want, you're not actually helping your teammate. And then by default, you're not actually helping your team get better. You're giving your team this false sense of the level that you guys can play at. And then you meet a team that actually will play defense. And then what? Then that's when you get these lopsided scores. So defense truly can help your team get better as a unit, scoring wise, defensively, and it helps your chances of getting on the court. It helps you to continue to understand the game, and it just propels you to new levels and new heights. And with the communication piece, communication is not just, I'll say this, something that I was taught was reminders are best given before they're needed. Point guard college. I give them all the credit.
Say that one more time.
Reminders are best given before they're needed. Yeah. So if you walk out the house and you lock the door and the keys are in the house, and I say, hey, don't forget your keys. Yeah, it's kind of too late for that. The keys are in the house, the door is locked. There's nothing I can do about it. But if I see you walking to the door and I say, hey, don't forget your keys, you still have a chance to grab your keys before you lock yourself out. Reminders are best given before they are needed, which leads right back into the communication coach that you were just talking about. Screen left, Brittany, go under. You're not a guard. You will never go under a screen, but you know how that guard is supposed to play that screen for that player. And that makes all the difference in the world because now you know what you're supposed to be doing. She knows what she's supposed to be doing because she may have forgotten. She may have just came off a series of other screens and then a ball screen is coming. She may have just came off a series of like a down screen and then now there's a ball screen. And then guess what? She forgot what to do on the ball screen. But here comes her handy dandy post player. Ball screen left, go under, go under.
Yep.
Boom. That's the kind of communication. So don't just communicate to make noise. Communicate information that's useful. That's really where I think the ball is dropped when it comes to teaching athletes how to communicate on the court. They may know what to say, but they may not know why they're saying it. They may know they should say something, but they don't know what to say. So then you just get help, deny. Like,
yeah,
great, you're not helping anything, but you can give short, concise bits of information that prevent your point guard from getting wiped out from a drag screen at half court.
Yeah. Well, that right there, not saying anything about that that screen. First of all, that guard is gonna be ticked off at you, and she probably won't. She gonna be mad for a little bit.
Big mad, big.
Then your coaches are gonna be mad too, because that stops the whole. That breaks down the whole defense, and they either score or they get to the paint and they're on the line because of that. That will take you out. That'll get your butt on the bench so quick, and that'll keep you there because that type of not talking on the screen, especially when you get your guards wiped out, it's just not good. It's just not good.
I've been on the other side of that screen,
and
so
it's on tape.
I know all about it.
And it's on tape. But the thing is, I'm like, I would never. I can't let my teammate down because if somebody did that to me and didn't say something, I'm gonna be mad too. Like I already knew.
Yep. Been there more than once, so I learned to just do this.
Yeah.
And you know, like you learn how to adapt to just in case nobody says anything. At least I'm looking because I mean you can get a concussion from that. There's a lot of bad things that can come from that. Not to harp on the negative, but you never want to leave, like Coach E said, you never want to leave your teammate out there on an island by themselves because this is a team sport. So if your teammate gets screened, we all got screened. If I get scored on, we all got scored on because it's 5 players' responsibility to prevent the other team from scoring. It's not just my responsibility to prevent the other team from scoring. So everything is a team effort, which is why the way you communicate is so important. And that's in life, that's in business, that's in sports, that's in relationships, that's in everything. There just has to be a certain level of communication. And does it take a long time to understand how that communication should work with new players, new coaches, new people that you encounter? Absolutely. Not everything is going to come easily. But what you do is, because you're committed to something, is as a team, you commit to learning what the communication should be like and talking it out and then going out and doing it better the next time and doing it better the next time.
Absolutely. I mean, every practice, every time y'all get in the gym or in the weight room, you have an opportunity to work on communication, whether it's just hyping people up, whether it's reminding them what complex they're on and what set, how many reps we're doing. Hey, if you're over here and somebody's doing something wrong, or not wrong, but just they're, I don't know, out of sequence, just remind them from across the way, being engaged. And that starts with your warm up.
Absolutely.
It really starts with your team warm up, your individual warm up, coming out of that shell, and with energy. It usually starts with just energy, clapping up. It can be as easy as repeating what the coach says. We got lunges down the line and twists, and then everybody repeats what we're doing, so we're on the same page.
Absolutely.
It's just, you really have every day to work on that, and that's one of the easiest ways that you can too get on the court and be seen. You're a high school player. You're worried about looks. Start communicating. Start existing.
Exactly.
We probably don't know who you are because you won't say nothing.
Exactly.
I didn't know you was there.
Exactly.
Talk. Energize. Be passionate.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. Well, I mean, we've dropped a lot of dimes today. I will say that this has
You
been.
know how I do. You know, behind the back.
Well, I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. We had a great time on this podcast talking about a lot of things related to transition periods and how you can just continue to grow yourself, whether it's in the sports arena or in life. And all of these things that we've talked about, they're not just for sports. They're definitely transferable across the board in life, business, relationships. It doesn't matter. So we thank you guys for tuning in. One last thing before we sign off is that the football league that I'm a part of, Texas Girls Tackle Football League, we are a few days away from our Youth Crucial Catch event to help bring awareness to cancer. And we're going to be remembering, honoring, and celebrating lives impacted by cancer. And we will be out in the Houston area at Bayland Park. So if you're in the area, please come out. It is a free event. We'll have activities for the kids, and we'll have some guest speakers and some great things that we're doing out there. So definitely come out to Bayland Park from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And if you see me out there, definitely come by and say hi. I love interacting with people and meeting new people. So thank you, everyone, for joining in. If you have any other questions outside of this forum, definitely reach out to me or Coach. We love having these conversations. So thank you, everyone. Coach E, you got anything before we sign off?
No, man. I just dropped them dimes, so we're buying this thing back.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all. Peace.